多名宇宙尊者，2名宇宙之主。别急，都到了这里，我恐怕也无路可退了。
快看，都是些究极绝学。
这个可能性到底在哪里？
Swallowed Star, Episode 218. Luo Feng encounters countless golden-horned beasts. The trial of 100,000 epochs begins. He must actually defeat the ancestor of the starry sky beasts, a being at the level of a universe's strongest expert. Luo Feng is guided into the starry sky beasts alliance, where he meets members of his own race. The moment he arrives, more than 10 golden-horned beasts at the level of universe venerables appear before him. These clansmen are extremely warm toward him, welcoming him back to the race one after another. The starry sky beast responsible for guiding him leaves after completing the handover. Luo Feng then reports the alias he had prepared in advance, Golden Peak Venerable. Most of these senior clansmen have experienced long periods of wandering alone in the universe, so they are especially sincere toward a newly returned member. Luo Feng responds politely on the surface, but deep inside, he is both moved by this bloodline connection and filled with hidden chinta. He knows clearly within this starry sky divine mountain, controlled by the ancestor, his possession of the golden-horned beast will likely not remain hidden. But at this point, there is no way back. Along the way, Luo Feng learns from his clansmen that the first ones he must pay respects to are the 2 universe lords of the golden-horned beast lineage. This is extremely rare among the 12-peak starry sky beast bloodlines, as most bloodlines only have 1 universe lord. This gives Luo Feng a completely new understanding of the strength of the Golden Horn lineage. Soon they arrive at the vast starry sky divine mountain. The rocks here carry a void-like aura similar to black holes, and the interior is divided into many regions. There are also divine palaces far larger than those of the human race. Guided by his clansmen, Luo Feng arrives at the palace of the Golden Horn Lord. Within this structure itself, a top-tier flying palace supreme treasure, he finally meets 2 peak existences, the Golden Horn Lord and the Xuanmi Lord. The 2 universe lords highly acknowledge Luo Feng's talent in cultivating alone to such a level, and immediately express their intention to specially nurture him. They believe he has great potential to break through to the level of a universe lord. They also introduce him to the various top-tier inheritances and rare resources within the alliance. At this moment, the 2 universe lords suddenly receive a command from the ancestor. He wishes to meet Luo Feng personally. This shocks Luo Feng greatly. The ancestor is the universe's strongest expert of the Starry Sky Beasts Alliance, the core existence that supports the alliance as one of the top powers in the universe. Soon after, the 2 universe lords bring him across a long distance to Ancestor Mountain, where he meets the greatest being of the alliance. After the 2 universe lords leave, the ancestor immediately sees through Luo Feng's disguise. He directly exposes his identity as a human. Luo Feng immediately returns to his human form, bows respectfully, and asks for forgiveness. But the ancestor states that his possession in a desperate situation in his homeland was merely a matter of luck. Coming here was not his intention either, and he has no interest in interfering with such matters. Then the ancestor explains that the alliance's most important sacred land will be completely open to him. However, Sitting Mountain Guest has already set an extremely difficult trial for him. If he fails to meet the requirements, he will be trapped inside forever. The ancestor even made a wager with Sitting Mountain Guest. If Luo Feng can complete the trial within 100,000 epochs, he will be granted a set of supreme treasures most suitable for the beast god lineage. If he fails, Sitting Mountain Guest must give up a pinnacle supreme treasure. The ancestor frankly states that even knowing Luo Feng is good at creating miracles, he still believes it is impossible for him to pass the trial, and that he will likely be trapped here forever unless he self-destructs and abandons everything to escape. But if he self-destructs, it will count as losing the wager. Luo Feng clenches his fists, tightly filled with unwillingness. Even if the other party is a universe's strongest expert, he should not be underestimated like this. Just as his thoughts surge, the ancestor's voice echoes through space again, telling him to enter, still convinced he cannot succeed within 100,000 epochs. At the moment his words fall, Luo Feng, standing in place, vanishes instantly. The ancestor sends him into the trial ground. Luo Feng passes through fluctuating time flow, and when the surroundings become clear, he finds himself in a strange world. The vegetation here is unbelievably massive, Even ancient trees exceed 100 kilometers in height. He rises into the sky and looks down, seeing endless forests and plains. Everywhere stand statues of the 8 innate beast gods. Each statue has a different posture, sleeping, roaring, or playing, and each radiates terrifying pressure comparable to a real beast god. Then Luo Feng notices something even more shocking. The flow of time here is 10,000 times faster than the original universe. 1 second in the original universe equals nearly 3 hours here. 10,000 years of cultivation here equals only 1 year outside. This far exceeds his understanding. Even the most advanced time palaces of the human race can only achieve about 1,000-fold acceleration. A 10,000-fold time acceleration treasure, he has never even heard of such a thing. At this moment, the ancestor's incarnation appears before him as a white-robed elder. He tells Luo Feng that this place is the beast god world within the Alliance's own universe, the core training ground for the beast god lineage. Even within the Alliance, very few geniuses ever have the chance to enter here. Then the ancestor reveals the only condition to leave: defeat this incarnation of his, which has the same divine body strength as Luo Feng. This completely shocks Luo Feng. Even with equal divine body strength, the opponent is a being at the pinnacle of the universe. His mastery of secret techniques is far beyond comparison. The ancestor then explains the rules. While Luo Feng is at the immortal level, he will only use techniques infinitely close to peak universe lord-level ultimate secret techniques. Once Luo Feng becomes a universe venerable, he will use true universe lord-level ultimate secret techniques. If Luo Feng becomes a universe lord, he will unleash all of his own techniques. This means that for Luo Feng to pass, there are only 2 theoretically possible paths. Either create a universe lord-level ultimate secret technique while still at the immortal stage, or break through here and become a new universe's strongest expert. The ancestor bluntly states that even after 100,000 epochs, he believes Luo Feng still cannot succeed. This is the confidence behind his wager with Sitting Mountain Guest. After saying this, the ancestor opens all resources of the beast god world to Luo Feng. The beast god statues cliffs ground, and lake depths everywhere are left with secret techniques from generations of starry sky beast experts. From basic combat techniques to divine body and soul amplification techniques, and even dozens of universe lord-level ultimate secret techniques. All are available for Luo Feng to study freely. After explaining everything, the ancestor disappears. Once Luo Feng calms down, he begins carefully observing each beast god statue, especially the gold beast god statue, which aligns with his main cultivation path. He discovered that each statue corresponded to a different state of the beast god. The secret patterns on their scales were all distinct. Every single one seemed to fully embody the fusion laws. Many cultivation doubts that had troubled him for a long time began to clear up as he observed them. Afterward, he browsed through the various secret techniques left behind. The amplification techniques here mostly exceeded 80-fold at their limit, and some could even reach a perfect 100-fold amplification, far surpassing what he had cultivated before. However limited by his own comprehension of the laws, those universe lord-level ultimate secret techniques, even with annotations and explanations, left him completely confused, unable to comprehend them at all. After 3 days of deep contemplation, Luo Feng finally found the key to breaking the deadlock. He recalled his 9 Tribulations secret manual as well as that special innate talent secret technique. As long as he could raise the life gene level of his golden horned beast clone to the perfect limit, he would be able to use that innate technique. And the power of that technique was fully comparable to a Universe Lord's ultimate secret technique, enough to defeat the ancestor's incarnation. Having found a direction, Luo Feng immediately devoted himself entirely to cultivating the 9 Tribulations secret manual. The life gene level of his golden horned beast steadily increased. By the time he completed the 6th tribulation, it had already reached 9,900 times, only 1 step away from perfection. Finally, in the 62nd year after entering the beast god world, he successfully completed the 7th tribulation, bringing the life gene level of his golden horned beast clone to the absolute perfect limit of the universe. Luo Feng sat cross-legged by a misty lakeside with a 1-meter-long golden horned beast resting on his shoulder, his heart full of anticipation. Previously, when his Nether Sea clone reached the perfect life gene level, it had triggered the descent of the universe's origin laws. Not only did his divine body undergo ultimate evolution, His consciousness was also drawn into a mysterious space, where he obtained a heaven-defying innate secret technique. But this time, as time passed, second by second, 5 minutes went by. Let alone being guided into a special space, even his divine body showed no sign of change. Luo Feng was instantly stunned. He quickly realized the key issue. This was not the original universe, but an independent universe controlled by the Starry Sky Beasts Alliance. Although the fundamental laws and cultivation rules here were identical to the original universe, its reaction to life gene perfection was completely different. This meant that his original plan to rely on the innate technique, I am the universe, to defeat the ancestors' incarnation had completely failed. The divine body of his golden horned beast clone was only about 1.0 kilometers in size, far from enough to sustain the terrifying consumption of that technique. Most likely before the technique could even take shape, his divine body would be completely exhausted. For a moment, Luo Feng was left with no options. Whether it was creating a universe lord-level ultimate secret technique at the immortal level, or breaking through to become a universe's strongest expert, both seemed like impossible fantasies. Meanwhile, at the peak of a mountain in the beast god world, the ancestor and an incarnation of sitting mountain guest sat facing each other. Watching Luo Feng fall into difficulty, the ancestor spoke with absolute certainty. He knew clearly that his own universe was far inferior to the original universe. It could neither grant Luo Feng an innate secret technique, nor allow his divine body to evolve. The only thing Luo Feng could rely on was the beast god world itself. Sitting mountain guest, however, remained calm. He simply said that 100,000 epochs was still a long time, and it was too early to draw conclusions. During their conversation, the ancestor also admitted that in terms of training disciples and defying the universe's rules to raise life gene levels, he was far inferior to sitting mountain guest. After all, such actions required an enormous cost. He himself had only trained 2 disciples. In the end, sitting mountain guest took away half of the ancestor's treasured spiritual wine and left. Only the ancestor remained still firmly convinced that Luo Feng could never complete the wager. Meanwhile, Luo Feng sat in silence by the lake for 9 days and finally sorted out his thoughts. Since sitting mountain guest dared to bet a pinnacle supreme treasure, there must be a real chance of success. And the key to breaking the situation must lie within the beast god world itself. After realizing this, Luo Feng calmed his mind and began studying the entire beast god world anew with full focus. He first selected 2 top-tier amplification techniques. One was 9 Peaks Lock, which could raise soul amplification to 100-fold. The other was Gold Beast God, capable of achieving 100-fold divine body amplification. With willpower and consciousness at the level of a universe overlord, Luo Feng spent just over a month to cultivate both techniques to perfection. After that, he focused all his energy on the 64 core beast god statues. The 8 innate beast gods each had 8 statues corresponding to different states. Most of the top-tier secret techniques in the beast god world were derived from comprehending these statues. Luo Feng spent the most time on the gold beast god statues, his main path. Sometimes just over a year, sometimes as long as 8 years. He also studied the statues of the other beast gods one by one. It took him a full 52 years to finish observing all of them. The more he studied, the more he felt that these 64 statues formed an inseparable whole. The secret patterns on them were interconnected, surely hiding an ultimate technique that surpassed all others. But at his current level, he still could not fully comprehend it. After finishing with the statues, Luo Feng began reviewing his own trump cards. He first studied the secret patterns on the Star Tower and the 9 Tribulations secret manual. But due to insufficient level, he could not understand them at all. In the end, he turned his focus to the innate technique, I am the universe. Within his divine kingdom, Luo Feng relied on the vast divine power of the Nether Sea to fully execute this technique for the first time. As endless divine power burned, a miniature universe with a diameter of tens of billions of kilometers formed above the Nether Sea. His consciousness merged into it, granting him absolute control over that space. At the same time, he saw the incomparably complex and profound law pattern diagrams that governed the operation of this miniature universe. Even though these patterns were only a simplified version of the original universe's laws, their profundity far surpassed any ultimate secret technique he had ever seen, even more shocking than the patterns on the beast god statues. He became completely immersed in the beauty of these universal principles. While executing I Am the Universe, Luo Feng made a shocking discovery. The complex pattern diagram of the miniature universe could be broken down into 92 sets of fundamental patterns. And all of these patterns originated from the 64 beast god statues within the beast god world. This discovery opened an entirely new cultivation path for him. All of this was part of Sitting Mountain Guest's design. He had long known this path of cultivating through pattern diagrams that originated before the Great Destruction. He had predicted that Luo Feng would discover the connection between the innate technique and the beast god patterns, guiding him to create secret techniques using the 64 sets of beast god patterns as fundamental elements. For this, he did not hesitate to wager a pinnacle supreme treasure, securing Luo Feng 100,000 epochs of cultivation time. Luo Feng became completely obsessed with researching pattern diagrams. At first, he blindly explored by imitating the structure of I Am the Universe. Over tens of thousands of years, he only occasionally created a few high-power techniques. Later, he adjusted his approach, discarding all other patterns and focusing solely on the 8 core pattern sets of the Gold Beast God. After millions and tens of millions of years of accumulation, Luo Feng not only mastered over 100,000 pattern combinations, but even without understanding the underlying principles, accidentally created a universe-venerable level ultimate secret technique. As Luo Feng cultivated in the beast god world for 180 million years, continuously advancing on the path of pattern diagrams, the ancestor who had been observing all along finally saw through Sitting Mountain Guest's plan and realized that this time he had already fallen into the trap.